Today I'm going to be playing one of my all-time favorite arcade games, X-Men. I love this game. I'm going to try to do a full playthrough. Let's see if I can make it. Thanks for watching. Here we go. We're playing the arcade classic X-Men. This is an awesome beat 'em up. I love playing this game in the arcades. I love playing the 6-player version. So much fun. And I may or may not do a full playthrough. We'll see how far I can get. And this is about as nostalgic as it gets. Based off of the cartoon show, the Fox cartoon show, and of course the series. And I loved it in the 90s. There was a comic book craze in the 90s. There still is. And I'm going to have to go with Wolverine. And you're hearing me put a bunch of coins in. I'm not going for like one life or anything like that. I'm just going to play the game to play it, to have fun. I love the graphics. This is something to behold in the arcades. And it's something you've got to do. You've got to play the 6-player version. Get some friends, get some random people in the arcades to play the 6-player version. I actually had the opportunity to do that a few years ago. I did it as a kid, but I had the opportunity to do it a few years ago at Retropalooza at their after party at Free Play near Arlington, Texas. And oh man, we gathered up as many people as we could to play it. Of course, we had myself, Stevie, and Bubby there, but we got anybody we could find. Like, hey, we need someone to play 6-player mode on X-Men. It's so much fun, and the effect is so cool too. Now, I love X-Men, like I said. I grew up, I became a fan because of the animated series in the 90s. A lot of kids, that's, especially, around my age, that's when they were introduced to X-Men. And to me, there were two huge things that I was obsessed with as a kid. Okay, besides video games, of course. That was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I love Turtles in Time. I love the arcade game. And I also love Sonic the Hedgehog. So, yeah, obviously they both had cartoons. And then my friends, my cool friends, I should say, they absolutely loved X-Men. I kind of was a little snobby with X-Men at first, because I was like, man, how are they better than the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? I was obsessed with the Turtles, really, like, seriously. Still am to a degree. I love the Ninja Turtles still. And anyway, anything else to me just didn't compare. I'm also going to say Power Rangers at the time I did not like. Now, I watched Power Rangers, oddly enough. And actually, I was kind of forced to at my babysitter's. And I grew to like Power Rangers later, okay? So, but anyway, I watched the TV series, the cartoon series, every Saturday. It was on the Fox network. And, oh man, that intro is so good. It's so classic. It's nostalgic. It's so good. I can't explain it. Just the theme song itself is so good. And every time you watch it, it's just like, oh yeah, we're going to have a good episode here. And for the most part, the X-Men series was generally pretty good. Pretty good content. Everyone and anybody loved Wolverine. I mean, I love Wolverine. I'm not going to lie. Ooh, I love that graphic. You love the enemies. you loved Magneto. Of course, Cyclops was okay. He's kind of your generic leader, kind of like Leonardo. Even though I love Leonardo over Cyclops even. And you got Storm. I really like her powers. You got Jean Grey. She had the psychic powers. And of course, Professor X. He was very strong psychically as well, and just a good leader. So yeah, and Nightcrawler too. Everybody loves Nightcrawler, I think, for the most part. My favorite enemies, Juggernaut. He's really cool. He's really big. The Blob. I don't really like the Blob too much. But yeah, I'm gonna say that I'm not a hardcore X-Men like fan, or like I don't know all the lore behind every single character or anything like that. I know enough to be dangerous, and I know like the basics. Okay. Now I grew up with the cartoon series, and I had a few of the toys. KB Toys, they actually would sell the X-Men toys for dirt cheap, like $2 or $3 a piece. And I wish I can go back in time and just stockpile those toys, if you will, because they're awesome. I wish I still had them. For some reason, they're not in my toy collection. I had Wolverine, Cyclops, Magneto. I had like a ton of X-Men toys. I have no idea where they went. But I grew up with the cartoon and the toys. And then, I just kind of forgot about X-Men for a while, and I grew up a little bit, became a teenager. That kind of happens, when you start to lose interest in childish things, I guess. Like Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers and Sonic. And there was a time, too, when I lost a little interest in video games. I had other things on my mind as a 16-year-old boy, or even a 13-year-old boy. And that's just the way life is. And it's funny how I've kind of gone back to my roots with video games and nostalgia and, fandom of these things. It's almost like a lifetime investment. It's almost like a lifetime journey, if you will. Like I'm still a huge fan of the Turtles. I'm still a huge fan of video games, retro video games, classic video games, things like that. And it's just funny how things don't really change in your life. But another big time of interest of X-Men, and I'm sure it was a lot of people, and I'm sure a lot of people became curious and interested in the franchise, was around the time of the first movie. And that was the first. You can make an argument that Blade was one of the first big comic book movies that kind of turned the corner. I'm getting ganged up on. You can make that argument, but generally speaking, with this current, Marvel, Spider-Man, DC craze, you can make the argument that it started with the original X-Men movie, and that's kind of when Hollywood shifted a lot of its focus and attention to comic book movies. And I remember watching the original X-Men in theaters and just being so wowed by it. I loved the style. I love what they did with Wolverine, Hugh Jackman. Patrick Stewart as Professor X was amazing. I loved him. Jean Grey, I can't remember the actress, can't remember her name, but they nailed it. I was like, man, they got the feel, they got the look, they got the characters down just right. And obviously people went and watched the movie. It was a blockbuster hit. And for a time there, I kind of got invested in X-Men again. I actually, my friend, he had a lot of X-Men comics and whatnot, and I caught up on some lore that I didn't really know as a kid, and started learning about, dang it, I'm using the special moves. That takes your life, by the way. And just trying to get some backstory on the characters themselves, and learning about Weapon X and all that. And then, X2 comes out. X2, at the time, was one of my favorite movies of all time at the time. It's still a good movie. It holds up. You should watch it. It's worth your time. It's worth the time to watch if you've never watched it. And then came X3. X3, it's not as bad. Well, it's pretty bad. I'm just gonna say that. They tried to force too much into one movie, and that's the problem with ensemble movies like that. There's only really, it's really hard to nail that many characters in one movie. The only movie that comes to my mind, and I hate to reference another comic book series movie, is the Avengers. The Avengers, and then of course Endgame Part 1 and 2, Infinity War, and then Endgame. That is probably one of the best uses of a huge cast, ensemble, whatever you want to call it, of all time. I don't think that can be topped. That's just my opinion. But X3, back on topic here with X-Men. So X3 comes out, and I'm just furious. Okay, and this is, I'm in college now, and I'm like, and at the time I was kind of angry and really resentful and critical of a lot of things. I mean, I'm still critical of a lot of things, but I'm generally more optimistic now, and have a better outlook than when I did in college. I was a little bit of a jerk in college and had to grow up, if that makes any sense. Yeah, I'm cheating like a mug, I know. So, I had to grow up, but anyway, comic book movie after comic book movie starting to come out. Spider-Man 1 and 2 and 3. 3, I don't want to talk about 3. 3 was terrible. And then you had all these like offshoot movies with Hugh Jackman. The Wolverine, or is it just Wolverine? I can't remember. Before that, you had the origin story. They were going to do a whole big like origin story deal with all the characters, it seemed like, because they were running out of ideas, fresh ideas, and what to do with the franchise. But they had Wolverine Origins, which was different. Deadpool, it's kind of funny. Ryan Reynolds is both iterations of Deadpool. I'm not the biggest Deadpool fan. I just don't like that kind of humor. That's just me personally. I mean, they're good, well-made movies, I'll say that. But probably my favorite of the offshoots and favorite of the spin-off movies, if you will, I actually liked Days of Future Past. Let me back up just for a minute. Days of Future Past was amazing. I love that. I love that whole story arc. I loved it when it was in the original cartoon, and of course there was a story arc in the comics with that. So I really enjoyed that movie. Actually, Apocalypse wasn't very good. Dang it. But my favorite offshoot movie has got to be Logan. I'm probably not the only one here, and it is just so good. I love Old Man Logan. I love that storyline. I love that story arc. It is just so fantastic. I can't get over how good and how well done it was. I love that it's kind of the end of the original X-Men. I have not seen Dark Phoenix. I don't know if I want to see it. But yeah, I mean, that original saga, that original, X-Men from the 90s and then the early thousands, that whole thing is done with Disney's acquisition of Fox, 20th Century Fox. And honestly, there was no way in heck that 20th Century Fox was going to be able to keep up with the quality and the demand that Marvel has done over the years. Now, I got a lot to say about Marvel, and I'll save that for next. That'll be my next little rant, if you will. Anyway, yeah, there's no way in heck that 20th Century Fox could have kept up with what Disney and Marvel Studios has been doing. Oh, these creatures are weird, man. So my thing is, why not join them? Why not get bought out? And I think it's a good thing. I really do. If you want to have some good quality X-Men movies, and a fresh start, why not? Now, the X-Men, I know that they have a big plan. There's a rumor, and I don't read the rumor mill and all that, the forum posts. I don't do that stuff. But occasionally I'll look at something on Facebook, the rumor mill on Facebook. There might be some kind of post one of my friends make. And apparently the first mutant will be introduced in Black Panther 2. And I believe that the next big push that you're going to see in the Marvel franchise is going to be centered around the X-Men. I think the Avengers, their time is done. And it was really a really cool and really well done run for that team and all that. But next you're going to see the X-Men. They're going to be the emphasis. And you're probably going to see either Magneto be like one of the main kind of Loki villains, like Loki was for a while. And hopefully we'll have like a really good apocalypse story. I did not like Apocalypse. That was not very well done in my opinion. So we'll see. You have Galactus too. That's a possibility of a big time, huge impact villain. But what's the MacGuffin gonna be? What's gonna tie the thread, if you will, kind of like what the Infinity Stones did with all the Marvel movies? I'm not sure. That's gonna be hard to do. And can they do that again? Are people going to get tired of it? That's my question. Will people get tired of this whole, we're setting this all up for one big showdown? I don't know. I mean, Endgame was very unique, I thought. I thought Endgame was awesome. Welcome to Die. I had to stop there. Welcome to Die. I love that part. So yeah, Infinity Wars and Endgame were excellent, I thought, and I don't think anything like that will ever be done. What's this guy's name? Ah, dang it. He's cool though. I know that. So yeah, now here's my rant about Marvel Studios and Disney. Guys, I love Marvel. I love Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Guardians of the Galaxy I can do without, but for the most part I enjoy those films. The Avengers is awesome, all that. I get it. But guys, it's going to take something pretty great and miraculous for me to be impressed by Marvel Studios. And it's going to have to, I mean, I think the X-Men are going to save my expectations, save my burnout of Marvel movies. And Endgame was great, okay? I will say that, and it was a great finish to that series, it was a nice bookend, if you will. The more I play this reminds me of like Turtles in Time. But here's my thing. Here's the problem with Marvel Studios. It is too... I get it. You gotta have a problem. You gotta have a conflict. You gotta introduce new characters. You gotta, have all this character development. I get it. I understand that. But it's just so formulaic. It's like just churning these movies out. And it, like, for example, I was not a big fan of Ant-Man. I'm like, I understand that they were introducing Ant-Man because of the whole quantum realm and all that. I get that. There's a purpose behind the character. But for me, I'm like, do I really need another origin story? Do I really need another background movie? Do I need, it's the same formula. Introduce the characters, introduce their background. They go through some transformation or change. They learn how to be a hero. And then the villain is introduced. He's a problem or she's a problem. Deal with the villain, deal with the problem, into the movie. It's just so formulaic. I get it. And that's the way a lot of movies are. And that's the way a lot of movies have been for a very, very, very long time. But man, I don't know. And I get it. They're made to be summer blockbuster movies. Or, they're made to make money. And Disney has made and printed money with these movies. So I understand what's going on here. And that's what Disney's all about, making money. And do they make a quality product? Yes. Am I, for the most part, pleased with the movies? Yes. There's an exception. There's maybe 3 or 4 movies that I absolutely just hate and I will never watch again. Like Thor 2, I'm probably not the only one. Thor 2 is some absolute garbage. Sorry if you like that movie. Thor 3, man, though, is one of my favorite Marvel movies. Just because of how fun it is. It's a fun movie. You don't have to do a lot of background. Thor's in a pickle. Loki's in a pickle. And, it's just a really well done, funny story. And they use the character very well. And the fight scenes are awesome. I love that. And I love the Goddess of Death and all that stuff. It's really well done. And then it's just unique, the story and the progress and the loss that Thor goes through. He loses his home world and literally everything to Hilda. So, yeah, I don't know. There's movies that I really, really, really love. And I'll be honest, too. I'm not a big fan of the TV series that they had produced, the ones that were on Netflix specifically. Now, here's the deal. I know Disney Plus is kind of at a standstill right now with COVID-19. I'm kind of dating this video if you guys are watching this down the line. But they're on standstill. I'm really excited for this new push. I'm ready for the Captain America series, Falcon and Bucky, or what? I'm not sure what's it called. I'm not sure what it's called, but it's the one with with Falcon and Bucky. That one looks really, really cool. I plan on watching that, giving it a try. I am subscribed to Disney Plus. Wow, these guys are on me. So I'm really looking forward to the series that they have. What are the other ones? There's a few other series out there. Let me know down in the comments below what's coming out. I'm at a loss for what's coming out on Disney Plus. It's been a little while since I looked at upcoming shows on Disney Plus. The Mandalorian was awesome. I'm not going to get started on Star Wars rant, but with the Mandalorian and the quality of the Mandalorian, I said Mandalorian. The Mandalorian, the quality of the content was awesome. So I'm thinking they're going to do a good job with the Marvel series, and it seems like there's a huge push for that to be on Disney Plus. They're going to try to take down Netflix, if you will, and it's going to be a slow process. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I like the Disney movies. There's not enough there yet. I mean, Bubby would come over to my house and we would watch the Mandalorian. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time saying Mandalorian. Every Friday when it came out. And I kind of liked that format instead of binge watching. It made me think about, now the episodes weren't like real deep or anything, or nothing crazy to think about, to analyze or whatever, but it made you think about the episode a little bit more and what was happening in the episodes. And there were some episodes that were kind of filler, but for the most part, really a good quality series, and I recommend watching it. If you don't have Disney Plus, I recommend getting it just for that, if you're a Star Wars fan. And you can watch all the Star Wars movies. The episode 9 is not on there yet. It will be. Just be patient. Yeah, I saw that coming. This is kind of fun, not having to worry about quarters. One thing that I hate about arcades is the quarter aspect and just continually putting in quarters. I love going to arcades that have free play. I'll give you guys an example. When we went to free play, we got to play the 6-player. We literally could have sat there, or not sat there, but stood there rather. And we could have beaten that thing because it was on free play. Everything at free play was on free play. Ironic name, right? But that's why I like playing arcade games on MAME. I'm playing on MAME on a Retro Pi. I'm just going to be a little transparent here. Oh, gosh. These things are eating me up alive. Let's just get over there while I'm blinking and... Whoa! I didn't know you could fall. That scream was cool. But that's one of the things I like about playing MAME, is that I can just play through the games. The arcade games in particular, not worry about spending $30 or whatever just to play the game. Now that's how arcades made money back in the day. Oh, dang it. Was literally, the quarter munching games, if you will. And, you got to keep playing to continue. You got to get an extra life to continue. And, I shared this story. I plan on doing The Simpsons at some time. But my dad and I, we beat The Simpsons. I was a kid. I was probably 7 years old. And we spent maybe $20 between the two of us to beat that game. And it was well worth it. That's something I'll never forget. It was at my local mall. And they still have an arcade. And, but my favorite arcade, Pocket Change. And, very cool. The Columbia Mall in Columbia, Missouri. We would go there, maybe once or twice a month. It's about 40 minutes away from where we live. So we wouldn't go there like every Saturday or something. But we knew we were in for a special treat whenever we went to Pocket Change. And we got to play games like X-Men and The Simpsons. I even remember playing like the original Punch-Out arcade game. That's something I love to play just because of how unique it was. And we'd play a lot of Sega arcade games, Super Hang On. Dang, that was cool. Um, and we'd play your normal like your basketball stuff and air hockey. Who doesn't like that? I still get a blast out of playing those basketball games and those football games, if you will, for some reason. Even though I know I can go shoot a basket and a hoop down the street from my house, Ooh, yeah. Sentinels. Oh, I have this guy, the blue guy. I have that toy. I do have that toy still. They're so cool. They're so weird too. So 90s. But yeah. I love going to the arcades in the 90s. I still do. And the cool thing, recently, well, this year, 2020, there's been a new arcade that opened in my mall. And I have yet to be able to document it because of the COVID-19 quarantine stuff. And I plan on doing a video tour when I can get over there and check it out. I really want to go do a tour of that particular arcade. And they have like a bowling alley. There's Juggernaut. It's a lot of kiddie stuff. But there are arcade games there. They have like a play place and like place where kids can like climb and stuff. Dang it. I'm gonna have to be cheap with Juggernaut, I think. So yeah, I will be doing that. There's another arcade I want to do a tour of close by. I'm surprised I didn't do it when I was down in the area a few years ago. Near Lake of the Ozarks, I want to tour Minor Mike's. I want to check that out and do a tour. They have some retro stuff. Dang, he's so cheap. Yeah, I'm gonna have to be cheap back, man. Yeah. Did I beat him? Yeah. So yeah, for some reason I have latched on to I've latched on to beat 'em ups over the years for some reason. Mystique. Dang it, I didn't mean to do that. Like I said, Turtles in Time is probably my favorite one of all time. Simpsons, X-Men is really good. Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. Not enough people talk about that. I review that on my channel if you guys are curious about my thoughts. I kind of go a little gaga on that review because of how good it is. You can actually play it on the Sega CD as well. There's a Sega CD version. I'm not sure how good it is. I'd be very curious about playing that one at some point. Let's see, other beat 'em ups I really like. Of course, Double Dragon, all that stuff is really fun. Man, what else? There's a lot of beat 'em ups. Oh, Hook. Hook is really, really fun on the arcade. It's so much fun. It's probably the best arcade version. Well, it's the best version of Hook you can play. There's a Super Nintendo game, Sega CD, Sega Genesis, NES game. They're okay, but the arcade beat 'em up is just so good. Another beat 'em up, Punisher. I consider that a beat 'em up. That's awesome. I did a full playthrough of that about a year ago or so. That's really fun. Dang it. The Turtle arcade games, Simpsons, like I said. Dang it, I'm at a loss. Batman, that's fun. The Superman one is fun as well. I consider those beat 'em ups, early beat 'em ups that are good. There's an Aliens one that's really fun as well, and then of course Alien versus Predator. I might have to do that on a random game Monday for sure. That's something I'm gonna have to play. There's just so many good ones from the 90s. I might have to do a top 10. I mean, if you guys want me to do a top 10 beat 'em ups, I mean, I would probably do them from the 90s. You also got the Dungeons and Dragon games. You got Knights of the Round. Gosh dang it. These are like mini pyros, aren't they? Yeah, I just wanted to wipe them out. So, yeah. There's Ninja... what is it called? Ninja Batman something? That one's really fun. Ninja Baseball Batman. I learned about that one through AVGN, and he just obsessed with the name. Really, he played it. And he's like, "Yeah, this, I don't care what this is. It's just the name is cool." But yeah, that's actually a pretty fun one. Oh man, I'm at a loss. I mean, you can go the console route too. Hyperstone Heist, the Super Nintendo version of Turtles in Time, is really, really good. Close to the arcade version, in my opinion. Very close. Yeah, I knew I was going to get slaughtered there. But yeah. Really fun. This is a really fun game. You got to play it. You got to play it in the arcades. You got to play it with your buddies. I highly recommend that you play this at least once in the arcades. Dang it, these bosses are tough. And the difficulty is there, but if you're playing on MAME, you're going to be just fine. I would love to have this kind of arcade machine in my home. This would be one of... I mean, honestly, if I can find this for cheap somewhere... Oh my gosh. This would be one of my top possessions in my collection. For real. Now, one thing else about like arcades and like arcade machines I would want in my house. Recently I got the arcade 1-up machines. And I like them. They're all right. They're cheap still. I still think they're cheap. I paid $50 a piece for Galaga, Street Fighter 2, and also I got the Pac-Man one. Now, I would love to have some arcade machines in my house, like real legit ones. I have some. They're just not the best. I love these cutscenes, by the way. I want a dedicated Galaga cabinet. I used to own a Galaga arcade machine, and it actually ended up being a Tron cabinet instead of a Galaga dedicated cabinet. And the story goes, we were getting ready to buy a home, and we were getting rid of some big ticket items. I actually ended up getting rid of my Nintendo M82 demo unit. I wish, and this is before I kind of started YouTube, and I wish I could have documented owning and having that thing, because the way I found my M82 demo unit, basically it was pure luck. It was right when Facebook Marketplace came into being, and this lady, she had a garage sale posting, and she had some video games, and she had 40 pictures on this one post. I don't even know how you do that, but she had a lot of pictures, And anyway, I started looking through it, and she had Nintendo. It said Nintendo games in the description. So I started looking through it, and one of the last pictures that she had in this little album on Facebook, on this early version of Facebook Marketplace, was an M82 demo unit. I saw it, I knew what it was immediately because of Pat the NES Punk and his obsession with it, because he did a whole big video series on it on his channel as Pat the NES Punk. And anyway, I saw it and I immediately knew I had to have it. I ended up paying this lady $250 for the unit and about 65 games or so. And actually, like 30 of them I didn't own at the time. This is kind of when I was starting to pick up collecting more than just like occasionally. And anyway, I actually sold the majority of the games. What's he doing here? Oh, is this like the gauntlet? And anyway, I ended up selling the majority of the games and actually made money back off of it. So back to my Galaga story. I found a Galaga cabinet on Marketplace as well. I got it for like $300, and I was in love with it because I love Galaga. Galaga is one of my favorite arcade games, if not my favorite. Dang, you're getting ganged up on. Yeah, this has got to be towards the end of the game. So I buy this Galaga cabinet, and the guy drops it off. And doing some research on it, it has a like a light near the screen. And looking at it, and I knew next to nothing about arcade machines at the time. And it ended up being a Tron cabinet. It was a Tron dedicated cabinet with the black light in the middle. And I ended up selling it on eBay to a guy in Springfield, Missouri, of all places. And I thought the guy already blew up once. And he ended up buying it from me. I think I sold it to him for like $500. And the only reason he wanted it, he's an expert in arcade repair and redoing arcade machines. Oh wow. Was because it was a Tron dedicated cabinet. So he buys it. I actually, make some profit off of it, and I had it for about 1.5 years. So I got to enjoy it for a while. And ends up the Galaga machine, the Galaga PCB was a reproduction. So really what I had was not valuable or worth anything at all besides the Tron cabinet, which was cool. I would love to have a dedicated Tron cabinet. That's a dream. And I sell it, and then I sell the M82, and it helps with the down payment on the house, which is huge. And at the time, I was considering selling my entire collection. Oh, it's just Mystique. I was considering consolidating everything. Magneto is in another place. Eat that, Magneto. So we're at the end of the game. So that's my Galaga story. I would love to own a real, even if it was not in the best condition, I would love to own a Galaga arcade machine for real. Like legit. That's so cool when he does that. I'm gonna be so cheap. His voice is so cool. So we're getting towards the end of the game here. Let's see what happens. We'll watch the ending. I've never beaten this game. Now, you used to be able to download this game on the PlayStation 3 network. and the Xbox 360 network. You can't do that anymore, obviously. They lost the license to do that. I should have downloaded it when I had the chance, but here I am playing it. I do have Simpsons on PlayStation 3, so that's kind of cool to have that. Did I beat him? I beat him. Let's sit back and watch the ending. So I hope you guys enjoy this. I'm going to do a series like this. I'm going to try to do it. To me, this is low-key editing. This is just play through the game, share. Oh, the game is not over yet. Let's see what happens. So we're going to get the end credits. Maybe it just loops through. If it loops through, we'll just play like one level and see what it's like. But this is low-key editing for me. And I don't mind this. You know, it's a good way to get some more content out and some different content. Yes, it's essentially a Let's Play. But my big inspiration is James and Mike Mondays. I love James and Mike Mondays. In fact, after I get done editing this video, I'm going to go watch the latest edition of James and Mike Monday. And I highly recommend that you guys check them out. They play all kinds of crazy games. Anything that they want. And I'll be doing that too. I might be on a little bit of an arcade kick. We'll see. This is a really good game. I highly recommend it. A lot of fun. You got to play the 6-player version. We'll see what happens here. We'll play through the first stage just to see what happens out of curiosity. But yeah, I highly recommend. I would end the video there at the ending. I would maybe play through it again just to see what happened. If there's a different ending or something, I don't know. But fun. This is a great co-op beat 'em up. And I know I didn't show off the other characters and their abilities, but Wolverine is my favorite character by far. And yeah, if you see this in a retro arcade somewhere, you gotta try it. Put a quarter in or play the free play mode if that arcade has it, and just go to town. So once we beat Pyro again, that'll be all she wrote for this video. And I talked a lot about X-Men. I shared a lot of thoughts about X-Men. I love X-Men. And just to kind of put a bookend on my whole conversation, I really hope that the Marvel studios, I really hope that they nail X-Men. I'm really hoping for success because I love the series. I love the characters. I'm really curious to know who the next Wolverine is going to be. And yes, I'm a Marvel fan over a DC fan. That doesn't mean I don't like DC, but I prefer Marvel for some reason. The characters seem more real, and I like some of the grittier feel of some of the stories and characters. So we'll see what happens with the X-Men series going forward, at least in the movies. I could see it being a series on Disney Plus as well. And I'm really rooting for Marvel Studios. And I'm really hoping for some new blood and new creative thinking and storytelling. Because we all know how the X-Men got their start. We know all about Professor X. We all know now, and they nailed it. I will give you a counterpoint. Now that I'm thinking about it, they nailed it with Spider-Man and how they introduced Spider-Man. They didn't have to go through, oh, I got bit by a radioactive spider and all that. They nailed it. It's just you jumped right into Spider-Man, and that's kind of what I want with X-Men. I want a little bit more of an explanation with the story, maybe a little bit, like how mutants came to be in the current Marvel Universe world. So that's going to wrap it up, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. And if you are new to the channel, please subscribe. You can also follow me on Facebook at Retro Tony. Thanks for watching, guys.